The following is a presentation of WGN Sports.
Enemies meet for the final time in 2010. Game number 6 of the Crosstown Classic as the Cubs and White Sox do battle one more time here on the south side. Sox fans hoping for no more rain. It's been pretty heavy so far this morning. Cub fans not so sure. Maybe it wouldn't be a good idea if they had a big storm this afternoon. Things are not going well for them. The Sox, meantime, red hot as they play the series finale right here on WGN. A pleasant good afternoon from the south side. Dan Roan, nice to have you along for Showdown in the city. The White Sox continue to be red hot. For the first time in franchise history, they won 3 consecutive 3-game series. They're about to try to make it 4 in a row today against the Cubs. Winners in the first 2 games and playing some really great baseball at this point in time. The Cubs not so good, and the talk of the town, at least on the north side, in terms of this series, has to be what happened on Friday with Carlos Zambrano. You've seen this a million times by now. Zambrano gave up 4 runs in the first inning, returned to the dugout, lambasted his teammates. Derek Lee in particular felt the heat from Zambrano. As it turned out, Lou Piniella would send him down the chute, upstairs into the clubhouse, and then home for the rest of the day. Since then, he has been dealt with in terms of punishment by Jim Hendry and by Lou Piniella. And here's what those two had to say Friday following Zambrano's outburst.
It was unacceptable behavior is what it was. He was upset that some of our players didn't dive for those balls. Let me tell you, a few of those balls were hit really hard, and one was in the seats with 2 strikes. Regardless, you know, he was ranting and raving, and he was out of control. I've had a conversation with our general manager. We'll see what we do, but well, we just couldn't tolerate that. We just told him to go back in, and even though our bullpen was really short, because we played 13 innings yesterday, but these guys in the bullpen sucked it up today and did a nice job. That's something that can't be tolerated.
He's been suspended indefinitely, you know, pending the normal investigation of MLB and the Players Association. Those are, you know, rules and regulations that obviously have to be worked out above an organization, but he has been suspended. His conduct was not acceptable. His actions toward his teammates and staff are not acceptable. And yeah, he will not be at the ballpark tomorrow. We'll play with 24. The rules of the game in a suspension do not allow you to replace him, you know, during the pending investigation. So, but certainly from my point of view in the organization, we'll play with 24 before we tolerate that kind of behavior.
And we welcome Bob Brenly into this conversation. BB, at the time, I know you had said it's nice to see somebody show a little fire in that Cubs clubhouse and in that dugout, because we hadn't seen a whole lot of that. But that may have been stretching it just a little bit.
Well, initially what I saw I liked. I like to see some emotion down there in the dugout for a team that's been pretty flat all year. But upon further reflection, obviously it should have been taken up in the tunnel. That's where you always deal with things out of the limelight, away from the cameras, away from the fans. And subsequently we found out what was said, and it was obviously a very selfish tirade on the part of Carlos Zambrano.
What are the Cubs' options at this point? He's been suspended indefinitely. I can't imagine the Players Association or anybody else will let it last all that long. What's it going to be like when Carlos comes back to this team?
That's the big question, and some of his teammates have weighed in on that. I think they're even a little undecided as to exactly how it's going to be when Carlos comes back. I mean, we've seen this act before. Jim Hendry called it a tired act, a blow-up and then an apology, and you try to step back in, but I think maybe this was the one that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, in terms of Jim Hendry, you saw You could see the emotion coming off him when he spoke to the media after the game. He was breathing very heavily, very upset about this. You know, he's the guy that paid Big Z all this money, and he's not getting much on return on investment at this point.
And, you know, that is the real sad point of the whole thing. Carlos Zambrano has pitched so poorly this year that I don't know that we're going to miss him that much. Obviously, playing a man down is going to hurt Lou and his ability to be versatile late in the ball game, but Carlos just has not pitched anywhere near the level that anybody with the Cubs expected him to.
And you know, that's the funny thing too, because he came to camp this year in the best shape that we've ever seen him. He dropped a lot of weight. He looked terrific in uniform and didn't have a bad spring. Once the bell rang, you know, not very much at all.
Yeah, and that, I think, was the most surprising thing to everybody. It sounded like he had rededicated himself to being an ace pitcher, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, it just has not worked out at all.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how it all plays out if and when he returns to this team, and we have to assume it'll be before too long. We'll step aside for a quick second, come back with more Showdown in the City. Cubs and Sox getting ready for the series finale right here on WGN.
Showdown in the City is brought to you by Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. Illinois Lottery's newest game, Powerball. Wednesday and Saturday jackpots start at $20 million. And by Honda. Visit a dealer or go to shophonda.com for current offers.
Offer phone service for $1.70 a month with Magic Jack. That's just $19.95 a year. $19.95 a year. We give you free local and long distance and your own phone number. Make us your new phone company or add a second line with Magic Jack.
The Craftsman cordless multi-tool. The power and versatility of 6 tools packed into one. More innovation, more great values. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
Skydives.
Now, Zingerman's is a celebration of American food.
It's our mission to support what we believe is really good, and so in many cases that is building things here locally and growing them locally just to support local economy. But it's more than anything is about full-flavored food.
Got a lot of secret specialty items that aren't on the menu.
As people come here over the years, they get to know about them, and it's just kind of fun to have specialties that aren't on the menu.
We had barbecue mac and cheese, which was ridiculous.
That's a 30-year-old recipe that I've been making, and it gets pulled pork, applewood smoked bacon from Wisconsin, topped with a little bit of Stravecchio.
This is a combination of old school and modern that just works.
You could win a trip to venture into a world of magic and excitement at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, only at Universal Orlando Resort. Here, you'll experience 2 amazing theme parks and stay on site at Lowe's Portofino Bay Hotel, Universal Orlando Resort. Be courageous, be outrageous, be extraordinary. Visit WGNAmerica.com to enter and for your chance to win.
Catch by Shadow.
I had that passion. I believe our whole ball club in that era had that kind of passion. I kind of carried my feelings on my sleeve, so I reacted to a lot of things that a lot of ball players might not react to, but that was my personality, and that's what brought out the best in me.
Ronnie left it out, you know. He didn't keep anything inside. What he felt come right out.
That's pretty well hit.
Hickman hit a home run. When he came around, everybody, and I was pounding him on his head. I was so excited. and I ran down the left field line. I don't even remember doing this, how excited I was. And I went up in the air and clicked my heels, and I go into the clubhouse. And, you know, and it just was wonderful.
Quit while you're ahead, kid.
Next day, I come into the clubhouse, and Leo comes down to me. And he said, can you continue to click your heels? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, you know, after a win, if you could still do that, that'd be great. From that moment on, just at home, I would go up and click my heels on a win. And then it was, they were all waiting after the game for me to go down there.
That's pretty well hit. Get ready for number 300. Back, back, back. Hey, hey! A home run for Santo, the 300th of his career.
I was told very young by my mother, always treat people the way you want to be treated. And I've always done that. It doesn't take time to stop and make somebody happy. I love it. I just really love being around people.
Randy Hundley and Glenn Beckert raise Ron's flag for the first time as it takes its place under number 14, Ernie Banks.
It was heart-wrenching. I mean, it was so beautiful. When I got to the mic, I didn't know what I was going to say, but it just came out. This flag hanging there down the left field line means more to me than the Hall of Fame. That is my Hall of Fame.
And look who's joining us on Showdown in the City. In the flesh, Ron Santo. Hey, great to have you with us.
Well, it's good to be here. I cannot believe it's been 50 years, but it's gone by quickly, and it's going by too fast, in fact.
Ronnie, those are 50 hard years.
Oh, you know, but I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't change those 50 years, and there's a big reason that I'm still here, and it really, you know, it sounds crazy, but being in Wrigley Field, being in that booth, being with the Cubs has kept me alive. These fans have been wonderful. So I can't have any complaints other than I'd like to see the ball club do a little better.
And win one here for you and for everybody else.
Well, it'd be kind of nice. I've not seen a club in this big of a slump when you look at a team that's not scoring a lot of runs. But the talent's there, so you still got to believe there's 88 games left, and I think we've got a chance to get into a good run here.
Well, regardless of what's been happening on the field, it'll be fun tomorrow night at Wrigley Field when the Pirates come in, because you'll be honored for your 50 years of service to the ball club. What are you going to throw? He's throwing out the first pitch. What do you have? Fastball, slider?
I got whatever I'm going to throw. There's one thing I know. It's going to be all upper body, not my legs.
We should also mention there are a limited number of $10 bleacher seats for that game and throughout the homestand, so that should be a lot of fun. A lot of people will show up to watch. So you think there's time to get this straightened out yet?
Well, always. When you got 88 games left and, you know, the talent hasn't shown. I mean, these guys have done it before, and I think they'll do it again. I think last night kind of impressed me a little bit. Ramirez swinging the bat better, not because he had a home run. It's the way he's swinging. Now he's staying back on the ball. Derek Lee got a big base hit last night. And we got to, you know, those two guys start to hit. The rest of the ball club is going to follow. It takes a lot of pressure off the lower part of that batting order, and a good example of that was 98 when we won 97 games, and 2008, excuse me. I always say 98, but 2008. And I think I really feel very strongly if that happens, then you're going to see a team effort.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by. Congratulations on 50 years with the ball club. He's going to be honored tomorrow night. We have our own little tribute. We're going to show that to you right now.
High fly to the left. Way back. Ready? Back. Back. Hey, hey! A home run for Santo. 3 more across for the Cubs. Whee! There's a liner. Hey, what a catch by Santo. Man, all right. Did Ronnie come up with one there?
May the good Lord be with you down every road you roll. And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you're far from home. And may you grow to be
300th of his career. September 21, 1971, Shadow did it. Liner caught by Shadow, racing back to third, but Perez got back in time.
For all the wisdom of a lifetime, no one can ever tell.
And you are the reason I'm back here.
But whatever road you choose,
Ron Santo.
I'm right behind you. Win or lose, forever young.
Ron Santo, one of the greatest players.
Fly ball, very deep. Curving, it is. Hey, hey!
And that's it'll come to me where I'm at.
The dugout, he dropped back to the we had it made.
I chose eHarmony over any other site because it was deeper and more meaningful to me than just putting a picture up and saying, choose me.
With eHarmony, you build your profile, you realize that this takes it to a whole new level that others don't get to.
Only eHarmony's in-depth personality profile matches you based on 29 dimensions of compatibility.
The connection is like nothing I've ever had. He's exactly what I've always dreamed of.
Visit eHarmony.com today and review all your compatible matches absolutely free.
We now offer phone service for $1.70 a month with Magic Jack. That's just $19.95 a year. $19.95 a year. We give you free local and long distance and your own phone number. Make us your new phone company or add a second line with Magic Jack.
The Craftsman Hammerhead, the only auto hammer worthy of the Craftsman name. Engineered to drive home nails with the touch of a button. More innovation, more great values. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
He's been wearing that bracelet since junior high?
We need to talk to you about this dedicated claims rep thing.
Okay. Well,
Calling yourselves dedicated? We're all dedicated, okay? The entire website team worked late every night this week. Look at Sanjeev, he's a mess.
But, guys, no, we're called dedicated claims reps because we each stay with an Esurance customer throughout the automobile claims process.
Yeah.
It's not because we think we work harder than you.
Well, you don't.
Am I a mess? You slept in the vending machine.
Call today or go to esurance.com.
Landing in Ann Arbor, Michigan, we headed over to Zingerman's Roadhouse.
We serve really good American food. Our focus is traditional foods, so full-flavor traditional foods, regional American specialties, a lot of Southern food. Well, I wanted to build an American restaurant, and so we just studied all the cuisines, all the foodways of Americans and immigrants from all over the world and nation, and just celebrating what we feel is the most interesting food.
They got a drive-through with kind of an old-school trailer sort of pull up to. This place rocks.
Well, it's lunchtime here at U.S. Cellular Field, and a lot of people are taking advantage of the good food here on the south side. Cub fans and Sox fans sitting down next to each other, getting ready for the series finale, and you'll get a chance to see it right here on WGN. You know, the Cubs have scuffled in this series. They've had a lot of trouble in their last 5 games in terms of offense. I believe they're hitting 193 since they pounded out the 18 hits against the Angels last weekend. So the Cubs need to turn things around in that regard. But there's one guy, free agent acquisition Marlon Byrd, who's been pretty consistent throughout, leading the league in doubles at this point. Second in average against left-handers, tied for second in the league at 318, and 89 hits already this season. It's been a great deal of success for Marlon Byrd in a Cub uniform this year. And on the north side, everybody's talking about him.
What are you talking about? Oh, have you not heard?
It was my understanding that everyone had heard. Heard what? Ryan, don't! Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. But bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, the bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird. Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody's talking about the bird. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird. Again, I love repetition.
All across America, people are comparing Dish Network to DirecTV and cable and discovering that Dish Network provides extraordinary television quality at a better price.
I'm always shopping for a good deal. So when I saw the new Dish Network price, it got my attention.
To me, there's no comparison. This gives you more and costs less.
Take a look at Dish Network and DirecTV. Are your favorite shows any better because you pay more for them on DirecTV?
Let's see, those other guys want me to pay more for less than Dish Network? Are they kidding me?
You got to get with Dish Network. You get more and you pay less. It's a done deal.
Now you can get Dish Network with over 120 channels, including local channels, for just $24.99 a month. And only Dish Network includes HD for free for life.
Free HD? Why wouldn't you sign up?
I wanted the most HD channels. That's why I chose Dish Network.
Whether it's DirecTV or Dish Network, your shows are the same. But with Dish Network, you'll pay less. Plus, when you sign up, we'll install your system free. There's no equipment to buy and no activation fee. And it gets better. Order now and we'll include HBO and Showtime. Free for 3 months. That's 18 premium movie channels. Absolutely free. We'll even include a free DVR upgrade.
With my DVR, I get to watch my favorite shows on my schedule. Pure freedom.
I want more for less, not less for more.
Call or go online now to get over 120 great channels and local channels for just $24.99 a month with free installation, plus free HBO and Showtime for 3 months and a free DVR upgrade.
I want to know what my price will be long term. That's why I chose Dish Network.
If you want the best value in entertainment, then you want Dish Network.
It's easy to see why so many people across America are switching to Dish Network. Now it's your turn.
Why would you ever pay more for TV?
The Craftsman Hammerhead, the only auto hammer worthy of the Craftsman name. Engineered to drive home nails with the touch of a button. More innovation, more great values. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
Hey, baseball fan, need a fix? Get the Cubs and Sox download
There's a swing and a drive, deep right center. Yeah!
at WGNAmerica.com for the full lineup of scores, stats, trivia, and more.
Showdown in the City was brought to you by Chrysler. For more information on our vehicle lineup, log on to Chrysler.com or stop by your Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana Chrysler dealer. Menards, for all your home improvement needs, shop and save big money at Menards. Southwest Airlines, grab your bag, it's on. And by Dodge. For more information on our vehicle lineup, log on to Dodge.com or stop by your Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana Dodge dealer today.
About 40 minutes before first pitch here this afternoon on the south side. I got to tell you, it was raining very hard earlier this morning, but the sun is peeking through now, and it looks like we'll be able to get this one at least started, if not all the way complete, this afternoon right here on WGN. The season finale between the Cubs and the White Sox. Coming up next, it'll be the Hyundai leadoff man, followed by the ball game, and then the 10th inning show to follow. So that's your programming list here this afternoon on WGN. So thanks for watching Showdown in the City. The Hyundai leadoff man. When we return after this break, you're watching Cubs baseball here on WGN.
Craftsman cordless multi-tool. The power and versatility of 6 tools packed into one. More innovation, more great values. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
Thanks to the new Venture card from Capital One, we get double miles on every purchase. So we earned a ski trip twice as fast. We get double miles every time we use our card. I'll take this. Double miles add up quick. And all of those? So we brought the whole gang. One adult, one dope, please. It's hard to beat double miles. Everyone knows 2 is better than 1.
Introducing the Venture Card from Capital One with double miles on every purchase every day. Go to CapitalOne.com.
What's in your wallet?
Oh, poor baby.
Crazy Jim's Blimpie Burger in Ann Arbor. These burgers are cooked to order, and I got to tell you, you got to make sure to order your burger a specific way. Otherwise, you ain't going to get one. Cheese. Cheddar.
Cheese. Cheese.
This place qualifies as a local legend. People have been coming here for years, including the current owner.
Jim started, he needed to raise some capital, so he offered breakfast for 65 cents, eggs, ham, toast, juice, coffee. He didn't have a name yet. He and his brother were sitting in the bar next door to the new place he was opening. The old Greek bartender told him, "You're crazy."
Jack is dead. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
Landed in Evansville, Indiana. Nice flight from Chicago. Headed immediately over to the Bonton Mini Mart. A guy named George Markham bought the place 17 years ago, and I think chicken's run in his blood. The guy is completely into the art of fried chicken, and you can taste it. The place is also really welcoming. You know, it's one of those small-town joints where you have Little League teams coming in after the game, and really added to the whole character of Midwest chicken joint.
It's well done. The way I like it.
Just local people. It's definitely off the tourist chart, and the chicken was remarkable.
Sun-splashed, ivy-colored walls, but that's Southside Ivy, my friends. U.S. Cellular Field, the site this afternoon for the final game between the Cubs and the White Sox here in 2010. Cubs trying to salvage a victory in this series, and the Sox shooting for their 4th consecutive 3-game sweep. They are red hot. And a pleasant good afternoon from the South Side. Dan Roan, nice to have you along for an extended version of the leadoff man here on WGN as we get set for Cubs-Sox baseball this afternoon. Should be a lot of fun. It always is. Although for the Cubs so far this weekend, not a whole lot to smile about, and that includes yesterday's game, an evening contest here on the South Side. After the White Sox had won on Friday, Cubs behind Carlos Silva trying to bounce back, but they fall behind in the 3rd inning. Alex Rios' base hit scores Gordon Beckham, and it's 1-0 White Sox. Stayed that way until the 6th. Derek Lee's been struggling, but hit that one hard off Freddie Garcia. Ryan Theriot in to score, and the game is tied at 1. Sox, though, right back in the bottom half of the inning. Alexei Ramirez, fly ball to right. That's a sacrifice fly. Paul Konerko scores easily, and the White Sox retake the lead at 2-1. And boy, has Aramis Ramirez been waiting a long time for this. Center field and out for Aram. A solo homer ties the game at 2. That's where it stood in the bottom of the 8th inning. Andrew Kastner had just thrown a 100-mile-an-hour fastball past Paul Konerko. He tried to do it again, and Paulie was ready. 419 feet into the bleachers and left. and the White Sox had the lead back at 3-2. Cubs got some runners on in the ninth inning, but Matt Thornton able to wiggle out of it. Alfonso Soriano an around-the-horn double play to end it. And the White Sox, for the second game in a row here on the South Side, are victorious. They clinched the BP Crosstown Cup as they beat the Cubs by a final score of 3-2. Still talking about what happened Friday with Carlos Zambrano in the dugout when he was sent home by Lou Piniella, then suspended by Jim Hendry. And then Friday night, after all that happened, he kept that dinner date with Sox manager Ozzie Guillen. Jim Hendry talked about that today, said he didn't think it was such a good idea.
Mine's the same as what Randy said. I mean, it's I would think that in those type of circumstances that even if you had that plan before, that better judgment would have kept you home that night. You know, Ozzie and I are good friends too, and certainly not his fault. He just kept his end of the prearranged dinner. But I think if you go through what you did that day and go through what you did with your own teammates that day, I think you might be better served staying home.
Jim, have you talked to Carlos since Friday?
No, have not.
Just the idea of your player going out with a manager, is that okay with you?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, I don't think you're going to prevent that anyhow. Like I said, they have a long relationship. You know, I have friends that work in other organizations, and I'm sure so does Ozzie. You know, guys come from different teams, play with different teams. I don't usually end up asking or knowing a lot about that. If players on our team go out with somebody else from other clubs, you know.
But it sounds like Ozzie's counseling him about what he should do.
Well, I don't have any info on that, you know. I'm sure Ozzie's not doing anything that he doesn't feel is in Carlos's best interest. You know.
Have you had any conversation with the agents?
Yeah, I talked to Carlos's agent, Barry Praver, who I have a long relationship with. A good, solid guy. Talked to him 2 or 3 times yesterday, and I'm sure I'll probably talk to him upstairs again today, either before or during the game.
He's pretty aware of these situations, having had a player, I believe, in a similar situation before. With one of his pitchers. Yeah, Ponce.
Oh, I didn't. Nobody else came up. His other. I try to stick with our own players.
I'm just saying from his own perspective.
Well,
Would you anticipate this could go to a restricted list thing?
I have no idea. Like I said, it'd be remiss for me to go any farther until I speak to the MLB people after they've had their time with the Players Association.
So Jim Hendry somewhat less than pleased about Carlos Zambrano keeping that dinner date Friday night with Ozzie Guillen. I'm not so sure it was a bad thing. I think Ozzie probably tried at least to talk a little sense into Carlos Zambrano. I think the bad part in this is that Carlos has not contacted Jim Hendry, at least Jim said so, or any of his teammates that we know of. And if that's the case, he's digging himself a deeper hole. As for the game today, we'll set it up momentarily. Len and Bob join us when we continue on the Hyundai Leadoff Man right here on WGN.
The Hyundai Leadoff Man, brought to you in part by Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. And by your Chicago Hyundai dealers. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com.
You could win a trip to venture into a world of magic and excitement at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, only at Universal Orlando Resort. Here, you'll experience 2 amazing theme parks and stay on site at Lowe's Portofino Bay Hotel, Universal Orlando Resort. Be courageous, be outrageous, be extraordinary. Visit WGNAmerica.com to enter and for your chance to win.
No matter what life throws at you, you can take the heat till it turns into heartburn. You've got what it takes. Zantac. It's strong, fast, lasting relief. So let them turn up the heat. You can stop that heartburn cold. Zantac.
Thanks to the new Venture card from Capital One, we get double miles on every purchase. So we earn the ski trip twice as fast. We get double miles every time we use our card. I'll take this. Double miles add up quick. And all of those. So we brought the whole gang. One adult, one dope, please. It's hard to beat double miles. Everyone knows 2 is better than 1.
Introducing the Venture Card from Capital One with double miles on every purchase every day. Go to CapitalOne.com.
What's in your wallet?
Poor baby. Oh, no, I just parked here a second ago. Give me a break, will you? No.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles with 2 different gels for softness and support are outrageously comfortable. On second thought, I think I'll walk. Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
No, not now. Come on, please.
Oh, great.
Nothing's worse than a dead battery. And nothing's more reliable than a Duralast battery. Engineered to start day in and day out, even under the most extreme conditions. Duralast. Proven tough. Only at AutoZone.
Hey, those Gecko ringtones you put on our website are wonderful. People love them.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Turned out nice.
Got another one for you.
At Geico.com, it's easy to get a free rate quote, manage your policy, make payments, or even file a claim.
Now that's a ringtone.
Yeah, it's interesting. Certainly not the worst ringtone I've ever heard. Yeah, that might be the worst.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hyundai leadoff man continues here on WGN, and our Hyundai dealer of the game, O'Hare Hyundai in Des Plaines, Illinois. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com. And for a preview of this afternoon's game between the Cubs and the White Sox, we send it to our men in the booth, Len Casper and Bob Brenly.
All right, Dan, thanks very much. There are no moral victories, really, Bob, but at least last night it sounded like the clubhouse mood was a little better after kind of an air-it-out meeting. It took about 15 minutes, and Lou essentially opened it up to everybody. It sounded like some players wanted the lineup posted a little earlier, but I think it was the right time for everybody to get together.
I don't think there's any question it was the right time, and I don't think there's any question we saw a much better effort from the ball club. It didn't result in a victory, but we saw some great hustle on the bases. We saw some life on the bench during the game. Unfortunately, Paul Konerko can turn around a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Took away any of the good feelings they may have been able to gain yesterday.
You know, the White Sox have dominated this series going back a couple of years against the Cubs, but just looking at some of the numbers, the White Sox haven't really hit all that much. But their pitching has been tremendous against the Cubs.
Their pitching has been really good, and their defense has really stabilized as well. The White Sox were a team very similar to the Cubs that gave away a lot of 4-, 5-, and 6-out innings earlier in the season. But if you look back over this stretch of games they've played and you talk to people from the White Sox, they'll say the main result or the main reason is because of improved defense.
Starlin Castro had a couple of starts off, got back into the lineup last night. We saw another tag play that went awry. It's a learning process with him. You feel like sometimes maybe there's too much to think about for a 20-year-old, and he's just got to work his way through it.
Yeah, and the worst thing you can do on the field is think, because things happen so quickly. If you take the time to think about a play, you're probably going to be behind the play. So I think it's just going to come with a lot more experience for Starlin Castro. It's just kind of ironic that Juan Pierre got him twice in one season on the same slide at second base.
Now, you don't want to look ahead. This is certainly a big game, but the Pirates are coming up next. They've lost 16 in a row on the road. They, however, have played well against the Cubs, and I think we have found out in the first 2.5 months of this season is the Cubs can't take anything for granted, can't take anybody lightly.
No question about it, Len. I mean, that should be your mantra every day, every season, every year. It should make no difference who your opponent is. You have to go play winning baseball. You have to catch a few breaks along the way, but it doesn't matter who the opponent is or where the venue is.
All right, Aramis Ramirez with a home run last night. Good to see it snap the Cubs' 30-inning extra base hitless streak. He said his best at bat was a walk late in the ballgame, so hopefully he can carry that into today. And time now to take a look at Bob's AutoZone tip of the day. Salvage the series as the Cubs try to get one here on the south side. The tip of the day brought to you by AutoZone. For the auto parts, accessories, and advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. More to come on the leadoff man. Dan Roan back in a moment.
Time, you can carry out a large Domino's inspired new pizza with any 2 delicious toppings of your choice. All for just $5.99.
It's such a great deal, we had to add one stipulation. Limit 256 per household per day. That is not happening.
Domino's $5
$5.99 carry-out pizza deal. For a limited time, carry out a large 2-topping inspired new pizza for just $5.99. Only at Domino's.
Oh, no! I just parked here a second ago! Give me a break, will you? No.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles with 2 different gels for softness and support are outrageously comfortable.
On second thought, I think I'll walk.
Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
We're in the mood for baby back ribs for dinner tonight. Who's got them? And it has to be all you can eat.
Thanks for dropping by.
Golden Corral is the first ever to offer all the fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs you want, all on our endless dinner buffet for around $10. Only at Golden Corral.
Look in the glove box. Suitcase? Huh? Where do gummy bears hide? Under the seat. Look! Yeah!
The all-new Chevy Equinox.
Guess who?
Dad!
Enjoy the trip.
Okay, Daddy.
A Consumer's Digest Best Buy with a 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. It takes you farther and brings you closer.
So rich and
Hola, amigo. It's me, your TV. Just pulled the plug on your cable to show you something sweet. With DirecTV, get a DVR that stores twice as many shows as cable. So load it up. Sports, soaps, absolutely. Reality show marathon, not my thing, but cool. Lots of movies, why not? You got the room. Stop limiting yourself. Give them a call and check out that deal. DirecTV, it'll change your life.
At that point, I wasn't scared. I knew I hadn't done anything they could do me for. Besides, it was fun. I got to make like I was notorious.
All right, you all know the drill.
Gotta have a program. White Sox fans, Cub fans getting set for first pitch, probably about 20 minutes or so away here at U.S. Cellular Field. As the Hyundai leadoff man continues here on WGN, the Cubs and White Sox this afternoon. And we are joined by a special guest up here in the broadcast booth, Paul Sullivan, the fine beat writer of the Chicago Tribune for the Cubs. You can follow Sully on Twitter, Facebook, and all other social media, correct?
Any social media, I'm on it, so just find me.
The hardest working man in show business right here, always taking pictures, posting them to his blogs and everything else. So you're on top of it.
I try to be on top of it because if you don't, someone will be on top of you. So you got to do it. Blogs, everything. We got a blog up right now on the Carlos Zambrano situation on ChicagoBreakingSports.com. So check it out.
Well, for those of us who can't see it at this moment, what's going on? Talk about being on top of somebody. It feels like the whole weight of the world's on top of Zambrano right now.
Well, it is. I mean, he made a mistake that is going to be real difficult to rectify. It's going to be hard for him to walk in that clubhouse and face these guys, D. Lee in particular, one of the most respected players in baseball. To do that to him, I think, is just, I mean, just unconscious. So I think today the Major League Baseball is going to talk to the Players Union. They're going to try and figure out how long this suspension can go on. I think the Cubs would like to change him to the restricted list so that they can play with a 25th man. They can't do that as long as he's on the suspended list. So there's going to be some legal things going on, and I think sounds like the next 2 or 3 days it'll be rectified.
What's the situation with him in terms of salary? He's still getting paid, right? Paid suspension.
He is still getting paid. I haven't heard if the Cubs are going to try and not pay him. I imagine the way the union is, they're going to have to pay him. I mean, they had to pay Milton Bradley last year, kind of a similar situation. So I don't think they're going to get around not being able to pay him. What they're trying to do is just separate them from him right now, get the team back together. Last night was a good step forward with the team meeting. The team seems to be together now. Now you got to get Zambrano in the clubhouse. I don't think they're going to be able to trade him, so it's up to Zambrano to, get this done.
Yeah, he's got well north of $40 million left on his contract. It'd be almost impossible to trade him. But doesn't he also have a behavior clause in that contract?
I don't know. I asked Hendry the other day if they could nullify the contract, and he seemed to think that there was no way. Obviously, they have, stacks and stacks of evidence. They could just go through all my articles for the last 9 years and, come up with things that this is just one in a series of events for Zambrano. But I don't think they want to nullify the contract. I think they would like to get rid of him. But right now, they just want to get that 25th man back. and they'll deal with Z later.
You and Carlos have always had a good relationship. I see you guys joking around all the time. He said in spring training he was finished doing these kinds of things. No more outbursts. He said he had a lot of reasons, including his family, why he didn't want to do it anymore. That all being said, were you surprised to see what you saw Friday?
I wasn't surprised that he had an outburst, even though he guaranteed me in spring training 99.9% that he would not do this. I told him I didn't believe him. We were going to make a bet on it, and I'm sorry now that I didn't make the bet. But I was surprised at what actually happened with D. Lee because, I mean, if you want to pick a fight with someone, that's not the guy to do it with. I mean, he is probably the most respected guy in the clubhouse. He's been in Chicago a long time, and no matter how bad, he's not having a good year, obviously, but he's still pretty much the leader of that team. And when you pick a fight with the leader of the team, you're not going to win it with that team. Even Carlos Silva, one of Z's best friends on the team, pretty much disassociated himself with them last night. So you can get by a reputation as a bad player. You can change that, as Silva shown this year, but you can't change a reputation as a bad teammate. And I don't know how he's going to get over this, frankly.
You've been a beat writer on both sides of town. You worked a long time down here on the south side. These games must be fun for you to come to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cubs Sox, there's always something. I didn't expect this to happen on the year anniversary of the Milton Bradley thing. Yeah, between Milton and Zambrano and Sosa, Frank Thomas, Ozzie Guillen, I've covered a lot of characters in my day, and really, there's nothing like baseball in Chicago. I don't know why you'd want to play anywhere else because there's always something going on here.
I couldn't agree more. I'm sure we'll see some more stuff today, too. Sully, thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Paul Sullivan?
Come back.
There you go. Beat writer for the Cubs and the Chicago Tribune. We're back to close things out on the leadoff man right after this.
It was just gigantic.
It was humongous. Enormous, huge bill.
That's actually when we switched to Vonage.
The service is great. I don't see any difference with the call quality. Or I can just pick up the phone, call
as many family members as I want. Ugh, why did I not do this earlier? I'm Laura Pruden, and this was my last bill
before I switched to Vonage.
Sign up for Vonage World and get your first month of service free with unlimited domestic and international calls. Go to Vonage.com or call now.
Di Serono, sour.
Di Serono sour. 1 part Di Serono. 3 parts fresh sour mix. Di Serono. Keep it open.
Everyone, I just saved a customer tons of money on his car insurance. So from now on, I'd like to be known as the Saver.
You know, the insurance site gives out discounts every day. Should we call the website the Saver?
Website already has the nickname, people.
Which is?
Fred.
So you're the Saver. While the website, which gives out thousands of discounts every day, is called Fred. Hey, Saver.
Yeah, that just happened.
Call today or go to esurance.com.
You have heel pressure.
You have high arches.
Really?
People everywhere are discovering what's really going on with their feet.
You have flat feet.
I do?
Foot care scientists are behind Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotic Center.
As flat as Kansas, sir.
That's flat.
Whoa.
Its unique foot mapping technology identifies the areas you put the most pressure on, then recommends the custom fit orthotic that's best for your feet for customized comfort all day long. For locations, see drscholls.com.
We at the block party having fun.
At Cheez-It, we expect a lot from our cheese.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cheese.
Interrupting?
Cheese!
Should have seen that one coming.
You should have, because that was... I even told you I was going to be interrupting you. Morning, sir. Beautiful day, isn't it?
We take the time for our cheese to mature before we bake it into every delicious cracker. Because at Cheez-It, real cheese matters.
The Hyundai Leadoff Man, brought to you in part by Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. And by your Chicago Hyundai dealers. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com.
Just about to close things out here on the Hyundai Leadoff Man on WGN ahead of the series finale between the Cubs and the White Sox here on the South Side. Starting pitchers today for the White Sox, left-hander John Danks, who had a rough patch in the middle of May, but has really turned things around. He's won his last 3 starts and is pitching now like they thought he would all season long down here on the South Side. And then for the Cubs, Ryan Dempster, a hard luck loser in his last outing at Seattle, 5-6 for the year. Demps will try to salvage one for the Cubs here this afternoon against the White Sox in the Crosstown Classic. So that'll do it for the Hyundai Leadoff Man. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy the game that's coming up next. The Cubs and the White Sox here on WGN.
So rich.
Hola, amigo. It's me, your TV. Just pulled the plug on your cable to show you something sweet. With DirecTV, get a DVR that stores twice as many shows as cable. So load it up. Sports, soaps, absolutely. Reality show marathon, not my thing, but cool. Lots of movies, why not? You got the room. Stop limiting yourself. Give them a call and check out that deal. DirecTV, it'll change your life.
Check it out! Every party needs a clown, right?
I didn't have a clown at my birthday. Me neither.
Turning 9 does not compare with being the world's greatest treat for 25 years, okay?
Clowns are earned, kids.
We are.
Celebrate the Blizzard's 25th with the Strawberry Golden Oreo Blizzard with Golden Oreo cookies and strawberries. Then follow the party tour at DQ.com. And this month, try our Strawberry Golden Oreo Blizzard cake.
Who are you?
I'm your genie. Weren't you just wishing for something more nutritious to eat?
I was.
Well, you can enjoy the taste of decadent dark chocolate, the crunch of almonds, plus 35% of your daily fiber, plus antioxidants in a Kellogg's Fiber Plus bar. Right then, 2 more wishes.
I'm good.
Oh. Back to the lamp then.
See ya.
Kellogg's Fiber Plus bars. You couldn't wish for more.
Gotta feel it's up in here tonight. We at the block party having fun.
We're in the mood for baby back ribs for dinner tonight. Who's got them? And it has to be all you can eat.
Thanks for dropping by.
Golden Corral is the first ever to offer all the fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs you want, all on our endless dinner buffet for around $10. Only at Golden Corral.
The following is a presentation of WGN Sports.
U.S. Cellular Field on the south side, it's Cubs baseball on WGN Sports. Final game for the BP Crosstown Cup. The White Sox have already grabbed the inaugural trophy. They've won 4 of 5 in this season series. We welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. We got some morning showers, probably see some more rain later, but we have a window and hopefully we'll be fine. The White Sox, Bob, with their longest winning streak, 11 games since 1961. Yes, they're coming up with clutch hits, but usually when you have a streak like this, it's all about the pitching.
Oh, it starts with the pitching. Obviously, it's nice to have those clutch base hits with runners in scoring position. The White Sox have had their share of those, the .316 batting average with runners in scoring position, but the team ERA of 2.05, opponent's batting average barely over 200, and they've played very good defense. You really need all aspects of the game to come together to win that kind of a streak.
The Cubs 10 games under 500 for the first time since they ended the 06 season. They are in desperate need of a win today. We'll have more on the starting pitchers coming up, but first, our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats. And welcome Chicago's own and Season 6 American Idol contestant, Gina Glockson, for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Another full house here on the south side. The Cubs try to salvage the series finale. We'll talk again about the starting pitchers and get you set for Cubs baseball coming up.
You could win a trip to venture into a world of magic and excitement at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, only at Universal Orlando Resort. Here, you'll experience 2 amazing theme parks and stay on site at Lowe's Portofino Bay Hotel, Universal Orlando Resort. Be courageous, be outrageous, be extraordinary. Visit WGNAmerica.com to enter and for your chance to win.
For guys, kidding is the highest compliment.
Hey, everybody look at Gabe, bringing back the V-neck. Well done. That top button is fighting for its life. I love the stash, but where'd you dock the steamboat? Hey, Steve, they make that shirt any tighter? Even Europe thinks your pants are too tight. Has he told you about a scrapbooking?
But when the kidding ends, we reach for the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. It's what we do. Budweiser.
You keep calling me home, Chicago. Your open arms, your simple charms, your people. I found no other place. Calling me home, Chicago. Calling me home, Chicago. It's a feeling that calls me. Chicago is calling me home. Calling me home. Chicago. Calling me
7 runs per game in the season. One of the worst run sports you can get. He only gets
feeling that calls me. Chicago is calling me home. Chicago is calling me
Welcome back to U.S. Cellular Field, the first ever BP Crosstown Cup. Again, the White Sox have already clinched the season series. They go for the sweep today, and what would be their 12th consecutive win. The Cubs struggling right now. They have gone 8-16 over their last 24 games. And pitching matchup today, it's always critical for the Cubs starter to keep the team in the game. Ryan Dempster against left-hander John Danks.
Well, and Ryan Dempster has done that for the most part all season long, including his last start against the Mariners up in Seattle. A complete game, made one bad pitch the entire ball game, unfortunately, and ended up a 2-run homer.
Derek Lee's going to DH again today. Some back stiffness, nothing serious. So Xavier Nady will be at first base, and the White Sox basically sending the same lineup they've had here during this winning streak. So we'll have the first pitch and all the action coming up. The Cubs and Sox here on WGN.
You've been wearing that bracelet since junior high?
We need to talk to you about this dedicated claims rep thing.
Okay. Well,
Calling yourselves dedicated? We're all dedicated, okay? The entire website team worked late every night this week. Look at Sanjeev. He's a mess.
But, guys, no, we're called dedicated claims reps because we each stay with an Esurance customer throughout the automobile claims process.
Yeah.
It's not because we think we work harder than you.
Well, you don't.
Am I a mess?
You slept in the vending machine.
Call today or go to esurance.com.
Fact. Children's Advil brings your child's fever down faster and keeps it down longer than children's Tylenol. Not even children's Motrin is proven better. For relief you can trust, look for Children's Advil in the cough cold aisle now.
Introducing the Wall Lithium-Ion Groomer. With up to 3 times the runtime, up to twice the power, and a 1-minute quick charge. The Wall Lithium-Ion Groomer. It's positively better.
My most memorable experiences were my Little League days.
We were called the Rockets, the Oyster River Bobcats,
Lloyd's Reynolds.
There's nothing like the adrenaline you get as a young kid just kind of competing at that early age.
If I went pitching, I was catching. If I went catching, I was playing shortstop.
That's when I first learned to throw my big 12-6 curveball.
We'd play whenever we had any free moment.
Every kid dreams about playing Major League Baseball. I remember that just like it was yesterday.
Chicago Cubs baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Want to go home with me tonight? I'm the designated driver. Budweiser, responsibility matters. By Pepsi, every Pepsi refreshes the world. Submit your idea at refresheverything.com. And by Illinois Lottery's newest game, Powerball Wednesday and Saturday jackpots start at $20 million. Welcome back. The sun is out. And partner, we may have ourselves a gorgeous baseball afternoon. We weren't quite sure about 9 o'clock this morning when the rain was coming down.
Boy, and it was dark as night when the team bus pulled in here to U.S. Cellular Field. I had my doubts at that point. We were even going to see a ceremonial first pitch, but right now the conditions are pretty good. Hopefully it'll stay that way throughout the afternoon.
Well, the White Sox keep coming up with that big hit. Paul Konerko with the game-winning homer last night late. And the Cubs keep coming up just a little bit short, although you have to be encouraged by not only the home run from Aramis last night, but he said his best at bat was the 9th inning walk he took against Matt Thornton.
Anytime you're coming back off a disabled list, you want to immediately get back into the action, contribute to ideally a team victory, but in the case of Ramirez, a big game-tying home run to straightaway center field. It's been a long time for Aramis Ramirez to flex his muscles like that.
And he's done a lot of damage against the White Sox in his career. He just came off the disabled list before game 1 of this series on Friday. And if the Cubs have any chance to get back into playoff contention, they're going to need a big second half plus from those two guys, Ramirez and Lee. The White Sox take the field behind southpaw John Danks. And let's look in on Lou Pinella's Pepsi lineup for today's game against the White Sox. Brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Tyler Colvin is going to lead off against the lefty. He's in right. Marlon Byrd's in center. Again, Lee the DH. Nady at first. Aramis at third. Alfonso Soriano's been hot lately. Soto catches Jeff Baker, who had been playing a lot of third with Aramis out, now back at second base. And Starlin Castro is the shortstop.
Take a look at the White Sox defensively this afternoon. Juan Pierre in left, Alex Rios in center, Carlos Quentin over in right field. Vizquel, Ramirez, Beckham, and Kotze across a much improved infield. They're giving a lot of the credit to Omar Vizquel, really stabilizing the infield defense for the White Sox. A.J. Przinsky doing the catching once again today for left-hander John Danks.
It's a
his 4th start against the Cubs in his career. He's a perfect 2-0 with an ERA under a run against the Cubs. He surrendered only 2 earned runs in 20 innings pitched.
The crew chief is going to work home plate today. That's Gary Darling, San Francisco native. Dreckman, Emmel, and Hahn around the bases. Let's see if the Cubs can cool off the Sox. Now a Chrysler game forecast 76 but rising. And it's brought to you by Chrysler. For more info on our vehicle lineup, log on to Chrysler.com or stop by your Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana Chrysler dealer today. And we do have the proverbial window. Ball 1 as we get started. Swing and a miss. 1-1 on Tyler Colvin, who was just 2 for 17 on the road trip that started in Seattle. One of the hits, a home run that sprayed foul off to the left.
Yeah, for me, John Danks is kind of a tweener. He's not really a finesse pitcher, but he's not really a power pitcher. He has a good fastball in the low 90s. When he has his command, he can be a finesse pitcher, but if necessary, he can also be a power pitcher.
Well, one of the underrated things about this White Sox team, that was pretty routine for Alexei Ramirez, but they've been very solid defensively during this stretch.
And as I mentioned in the open of the show, they really give a lot of the credit to Omar Vizquel. I mean, obviously one of the better defenders to ever play this game, playing out of position at third base, but his influence on the left side of the infield, we're told, has really helped Alexei Ramirez be a little more relaxed at his position. Vizquel will help him position himself over there at shortstop from time to time, and who better to take advice from than Omar Vizquel?
Marlon Byrd swings away and fouls off. You know, you just don't know, Bob, how it's going to go sometimes. And in the case of the White Sox, if things had continued to go the way they started, I think a lot of people would have said Andrew Jones, Omar Vizquel, Mark Kotze. Why are they bringing in all these old guys? These over-the-hill 30-somethings, and in the case of Omar Vizquel, 43 years old. But now that they're winning, it's instead veteran leadership. They know how to win. It's all about results ultimately, as Danks will throw out Marlon Byrd.
Well, and those veteran names that you mentioned were brought in here not to be cornerstones of the organization. They were brought in as complementary players, to be part-time guys, to fill a role with the team, many times coming off the bench. They felt like they had their nucleus of the team. They just needed some veterans available to play part-time, to come off the bench and spell some of the other players. And, you know, you pick the right guys and it works.
Derek Lee again battling some mild back stiffness. Long flight to and from Seattle. So he's in the DH spot for the second straight game. Xavier Nady is at first today, and Nady is on deck. Quickly 2 strikes on D. Lee. Ramirez hitting 5th, so he's in the hole currently. A wind in the 1-2. Another ground ball. Backhanded by Ramirez. Long throw is going to be in plenty of time to get Derek Lee. Alexei Ramirez has been impressive with the glove in this series. The White Sox come up against Ryan Dempster when we come back.
For a limited time, you can carry out a large Domino's inspired new pizza with any 2 delicious toppings of your choice. All for just $5.99.
It's such a great deal, we had to add one stipulation. Limit 256 per household per day. That is not happening.
Domino's $5.99 carry-out pizza deal. For a limited time, carry out a large 2-topping inspired new pizza for just $5.99. Only at Domino's.
No, not now. Come on, please.
Oh, great.
Nothing's worse than a dead battery. And nothing's more reliable than a Duralast battery. Engineered to start day in and day out, even under the most extreme conditions. Duralast, proven tough, only at AutoZone.
Hey, those Gecko ringtones you put on our website are wonderful. People love them.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Turned out nice.
Got another one for you.
At Geico.com, it's easy to get a free rate quote, manage your policy, make payments, or even file a claim.
Now that's a ringtone.
Yeah, it's interesting. Certainly not the worst ringtone I've ever heard. Yeah, that might be the worst.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Let's look and see how Ozzie Guillen decided to line up his position players today. Juan Pierre leads off. Omar Vizquel at third. Rios, Konerko with those big home runs here lately. Quentin and Wright. Kotze is going to play first with Konerko DHing. Krasinski is second start of the series. And then the double play combo of Ramirez and Beckham.
And let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today. Behind Ryan Dempster, brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Soriano, Bird, and Colvin across the outfield this afternoon. Good to see Aramis Ramirez back in the lineup again today. He'll be at third base. Starlin Castro at short. Jeff Baker getting the nod at second base today. Xavier Nady defensively at first base. Giovanni Soto doing the catching for right-hander Ryan Dempster. He got the loss his last time out despite pitching his 11th complete game of his career, when 8 innings, gave up only 2 runs on 5 hits. It's kind of becoming a common thing throughout the Cubs pitching staff. The first inning has been a big factor for Ryan Dempster this year, and I don't need to tell you what a big factor it has been for Randy Wells.
So Dempster to Pierre, and it's a called strike. Derek Lee doesn't need me to defend him, but Bob, that's about where he was standing on Friday. The Cubs have the first baseman pinch a little bit against Juan Pierre, who likes to lay down bunts and is very good at it, and he happened to turn on one right down the line. And the chain of events ultimately ended up with a dugout spat. And Carlos Zambrano, as a result, has been suspended indefinitely by the team. 0-2 on Pierre.
Well, the thing about that Pierre ground ball down the first baseline, it caught even Juan Pierre by surprise. He thought he had pulled the ball foul down that first base stripe. Now, you'll watch as Pierre makes contact with the ball here. He kind of freezes in the batter's box. I think he thought it was going to be a foul ball, and you can see where Derek Lee is positioned. Very tough to cover that much ground that quickly. The ball went over the very corner of the bag, as close to being in foul territory as it could be without being a foul ball.
There's a ground ball to Baker, who's in there for Terrio today, and he throws out Pierre. 1 away. Ryan Dempster's been very good this year. If there's one problem, it's been giving up big home runs. Now, his last start, he pitched the first complete game on the staff, 8 innings at Seattle. Gave up a 2-run homer to Franklin Gutierrez in the second. That was it. 2-0 the final. But again, Bob, you go 8 innings, you give up 2 runs. You're giving your team a chance to win. 1-0 on Omar Vizquel.
And I mentioned it before. If you go back and look at the tape of Ryan Dempster's last start, that was really the only bad pitch he made. He was hitting his spots. He was changing speeds well as Vizquel slaps one into left field for the first base hit of the game.
We are email accessible at lenandbob@tribune.com. Len and Bob at tribune.com. My partner is petitioning for Bob and Len, but we're not there yet. Also, you can follow us on twitter.com/LenandBob.
Alphabetical order. It's not that I'm asking for top billing. It's just the way it works in the alphabet.
You're not asking for bendable straws?
Green
part of your
M&Ms?
rider?
Yeah.
Alex Rios with Vizquel at first and 1 out. The pitch by Dempster. A topper off the plate that dies foul in the grass along the third base line. 2 hits, 2 RBIs in this series for Rios. Had a big 4-for-4 performance against the Cubs at Wrigley Field a few weeks ago, and he drills that one out into left center, and Soriano able to cut it off. The throw's going to go to second. That'll keep Rios at first. Vizquel, however, able to advance to third.
I have to believe there'll be a little bit of hydroplaning when that ball is hit into the outfield. The tarps were on the field this morning during the rains. However, the outfield took a lot of water. Soriano does a nice job of getting to the gap to cut that ball off, and no thought of throwing to third. Throw the ball to second base, keep the double play in order. Nicely done.
Well, let's see here. I guess the consolation in this at bat is that Konerko has waited until late to hit most of his home runs. Game winner on Thursday against Atlanta. I believe that was in the 8th, and then last night in the 8th inning off Andrew Kashner. Now the pitch speed said 100 miles per hour. It might have been, but they do have a hot gun here. We can't tell you it was probably at least 97 or 98. And it was a no-doubter for Konerko, who takes ball 1.
You know, Len, I couldn't really blame Andrew Kashner. Some people were asking me, why did he throw him a fastball? He's one of the best fastball hitters in the game. Well, when your fastball sits in the upper 90s, occasionally triple digits, you know, there's an old saying in this game, you don't get beat with your second best pitch, and there's no question Andrew Kashner's best pitch is that high 90s fastball. The one knock on Kashner as he was quickly making his way through the minor leagues was he doesn't throw enough strikes. Well, he's throwing strikes at the major league level, and occasionally big league hitters are going to catch up to it.
And you saw how hot Konerko is. A 9-game hitting streak. You'd have to say at this point the MVP of this season series has been Konerko. Swings and misses, 2-1. Dempster 1-4 lifetime against the Sox. First and only appearance this year against them. Lost twice in 3 outings last year. And the 2-1 swing and a miss.
We saw a little bit of this from Ryan Dempster in Seattle his last start. He started to change speeds more on his breaking pitches. That's a slider he really took a lot off. It would have been a called strike had Konerko not swung at it, but he was way out in front of that off-speed breaking pitch.
That outing was in front of hundreds of family and friends. Upwards of 250 tickets per game in that series. Not sure if Ryan bought all of them, but he can afford it.
Now, I actually ran into a couple of families who came down from British Columbia. They weren't even part of the Dempster entourage. They just wanted to come down and see him pitch.
Runner goes from first. Here's the throw. Right on the bag, but Rios got in. Vizquel holding at third. Rios already with 21 stolen bases.
He's definitely the total package. We know he can hit. We've seen him do that against the Cubs this year. We know he's a great defender in center field, and he can also steal a base.
And let me correct it after watching the replay that the throw right at the end tailed a little bit as Baker caught it behind second. And that allowed Rios to get in. 3-2 on Konerko. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. A big one for Dempster. 2 down in the inning.
Dempster threw Konerko the slower slider early in the sequence, comes back with the hard one this time. That one out of the strike zone, but with 2 strikes, Konerko trying to protect the plate. Waves right through the breaking ball.
Carlos Quentin playing right. Big 3-run homer of Carlos Zambrano in the first inning Friday. And he takes a healthy hack. Last night he was hit by 2 pitches. That is nothing new for Quentin. He's been hit already this year 10 times. The 33-year-old righty coming back outside. 1-1.
I know you've seen this, Len, but the minor league numbers for Carlos Quentin as far as the hit by pitches go, 27 times in 65 games in A ball, 29 times in 136 games in AAA, followed that with a 31 hit by pitch season in only 85 games. There's no question this guy likes to crowd the plate, and he does not give.
Hits it hard up the middle. It's going to drive in 2. A 2-out, 2-run single for Carlos Quentin. This inning right here, I think, has been a microcosm of their winning streak. They have been really good with runners in scoring position, and after the Konerko strikeout, Quentin picks him up and gives the White Sox the lead.
Well, it's actually a pretty good pitch from Ryan Dempster on the outside corner, just above the knees with some movement, but Quentin with a nice piece of hitting stays on it, lines it right back up the middle of the field.
So the Cubs, who have not led so far in this series, find themselves down early, 2-0. They did come back twice last night to tie the game. Now Mark Kotsay, who had been the DH the first 2 games, he's at first base and looks at a strike. Another base hit, this one through the hole on the left side. So a couple of former teammates matching up. Ryan Dempster and Mark Kotsay 10 years ago were Florida Marlins. And now they're battling here in Chicago. 2 on for A.J. Pierzynski.
Kotsay with another opposite field approach. That sinker off the plate up and away, but he stayed on it, got on top of the ball, lined it through the left side with authority. Boy, we have seen a lot of opposite field base hits against the Cubs pitching staff over the last couple of weeks.
Pierzynski has hit .393 over his last 7 games against the Cubs. Grounds it foul. Two runs on 4 hits here in the first inning for the White Sox. Much has been made of the fact that the White Sox have gone on this big run in interleague play. They are 15-2 against the National League. That includes the 11 consecutive wins. The best single season interleague record ever, 16-2. A couple of teams have done it. Actually, 3 teams, Red Sox and Twins in 06, the A's in 2002 at 16-2. So the White Sox with a win today would tie that record. Gets way over everybody. And Quentin and Kotsay will advance a base. That's a wild pitch on Dempster.
It looked like Giovanni Soto wanted to pitch up, but I think that was a little excessive right there. Was only able to just get a piece of it as that ball was sailing toward the backstop. And I'll tell you what, Len, if history holds true, this will be a blip on the radar screen for Ryan Dempster. A tough first inning. He usually settles in and pitches extremely well after that tough first inning. Hopefully that'll be the case again today if he can escape this jam.
The kick in the 1-2, and he struck him out as AJ just snapped his bat, slamming it to the ground. 4 singles, 2 runs. They lead 2-0 after 1.
CC looks a bit rattled out there, and Dave Island is coming out for a visit.
Dave, I think we should put an organic garden in that bullpen.
I think we should organize a group hug for all of New York.
Mobile classrooms, that was your idea, wasn't it?
How about a pizza party for all of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Senior prom for senior citizens.
I don't know about that one.
Pepsi's spending millions to fund refreshing ideas. Vote for ideas you care about at refresheverything.com.
See that girl in the stands? She got some great ideas.
Give yourself an edge. New One-A-Day Men's Pro Edge. A complete multivitamin with more magnesium to help support healthy muscle function. More B vitamins to help convert food to fuel. More confidence in a healthy you. New One-A-Day Men's Pro Edge.
So rich.
Hola, amigo. It's me, your TV. Just pulled the plug on your cable to show you something sweet. With DirecTV, get a DVR that stores twice as many shows as cable. So load it up. Sports, soaps, absolutely. Reality show marathon, not my thing, but cool. Lots of movies, why not? You got the room. Stop limiting yourself. Give them a call and check out that deal. DirecTV, it'll change your life.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
Get in the swing at the Captain Morgan Club every Monday for your chance to win batting practice on Wrigley Field. Polish off 60 wings in 60 minutes and you'll be swinging them out of the park at the end of the season batting practice. With 25-cent wings on Monday, you won't break the bank. Visit CaptainMorgansClub.com for details.
Underway here in the second. The White Sox got a couple in the first. Left-hander John Danks got 3 ground ball outs. In the top of the first, Xavier Nady in an 0-2 hole, just 1 for 16 this week. Pretty much everybody in this White Sox rotation, save for maybe Freddie Garcia, they like to work fast, and I think they take their cue from Mark Burley. Probably the quickest worker in all of baseball, but John Danks gets the ball. He doesn't wait a lot of time, doesn't walk around the mound much. Get it and throw it.
Well, it definitely keeps your defense on their toes.
Called strike 3. He never really did get comfortable in that at bat.
I mean, there's a fine line for a pitcher between working so quickly that you're not really focusing on each pitch, but yet you like to work quickly enough so that your defenders are on their toes. They're ready to go. They don't feel like they're standing around waiting for something to happen. And as you said, I think everybody on this staff has followed the lead of Mark Burley. He pitches like he's double parked. And there's a meter maid in the vicinity.
Fly ball to right, carrying pretty well. Quentin's going back. He's on the track. He's going to leap, and he makes the catch. Banging up against the fence out there. 2 outs. Well, get it up in the air here. The ball will fly. And Ramirez almost hit it out.
That started out very similar to his home run to center field last night. Last night, Alex Rio started gliding on the ball, then turned around and sprinted to the wall. This time, Quentin in right field starts to glide back on the ball, realizes it's going to get over his head, and eventually has to make a leaping catch against the wall.
Don't think it would have been out, but it would have been close.
Yeah, this ball's really flying.
This one not hit nearly as well, and Quentin catches that one. That was fast. Now Ramirez in a bid for an extra base hit, taken away by Quentin. 2-0 White Sox.
Among guys, Budweiser has become a kind of currency. Helping a friend move gets you a six-pack. Up 3 flights? That's more. Dog sitting for the weekend? Well, that depends on the dog. Riding in the middle seat has its own benefits. The last wing is worth 1. The celery's worthless. Flying blind into a double date for your buddy earns you a case. Though, on occasion, you may owe him. So pay up with the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. It's what we do. Budweiser.
Juicy Johnsonville sausage, made with only premium cuts of pork since 1945. Johnsonville, sausage is all we do.
Who are you?
I'm your genie. Weren't you just wishing for something more nutritious to eat?
I was.
Well, you can enjoy the taste of decadent dark chocolate, the crunch of almonds, plus 35% of your daily fiber, plus antioxidants in a Kellogg's Fiber Plus bar. Right then, 2 more wishes.
I'm good.
Oh. Back to the lamp then.
See ya.
Kellogg's Fiber Plus bars. You couldn't wish for more.
Introducing the Wall Lithium-Ion Groomer. With up to 3 times the runtime, up to twice the power, and a 1-minute quick charge. The Wall Lithium-Ion Groomer. It's positively better.
No matter what life throws at you, you can take the heat till it turns into heartburn. You've got what it takes. Zantac. It's strong, fast, lasting relief. So let him turn up the heat. You can stop that heartburn cold. Zantac.
We love baseball and America's WGN.
Let's check out who's moving forward with Toyota. We talked about Ryan Dempster's first inning struggles. These numbers will bear that out. A 5.40 ERA, a 250 opponent's batting average. Strikeout to walk ratio all get much better from the second inning and beyond. Toyota and your local Toyota dealers, official partners of the Chicago Cubs.
Alexei Ramirez will lead off now, batting 8th in the lineup, and they sent 7 to the plate in the first inning. Beckham and Pierre to follow. High for ball 1. Carlos Quentin with a 2-run single and a nice leaping grab out in deep right. Great to see new WGN radio host Mike McConnell here at U.S. Cellular Field this weekend, taking in Cubs and Sox. Mike will start on WGN August 9th, but he has moved here, and what better place to soak up Chicago than at this great rivalry. So we wish him the best of luck at WGN Radio. Big swing by Ramirez. So he has some protection on that front lower leg, and that's why.
He may have actually broken his protective guard for his ankle. He's going to hand it to the bat boy and continue. You know, Len, we've seen enough of Ozzie Guillen and the White Sox over the past few years to know that with this particular part of the lineup, starting with the 8-hitter, Ramirez, Beckham in the 9-hole, Pierre and Vizquel at the top. This is when Ozzie likes to do things. He likes to bunt and run. He likes to hit and run. He likes to start the runners. And when you get down to that 3 spot at Alex Rios all the way down to A.J. Przinsky, most of the time he's just going to let those guys swing away.
Ramos will shoot it across late. It's an infield hit for Alexei as Ramos did not come in on that ball, and Alexei runs well, and he simply beat it out.
Yeah, Ramirez playing deep, came in a step or two, but then backed up a step or two. Really deliberate getting that ball out of his glove. You have to know who the runner is. Ramirez streaking down that line. We'll get rid of it quicker than that.
So the leadoff man is on, and it brings up Gordon Beckham, who bunts it foul. Beckham homered on Friday, snapping a 211 at-bat homerless streak.
And for the White Sox and Greg Walker, their hitting instructor, they were probably just as pleased with the line drive double to the gap in right center last night. Actually, a triple. He laid that out for a triple. A little flinch that time by Ramirez over at first base. However, he flinched so early he was able to stop and get back into his stance and retreat to first base when Dempster threw over.
Bit of a late call by Bill Hong, because the first thing was he had to get out of the way. That's not an easy call when you're moving. But no argument from Jeff Cox, the third base coach. Good call.
And a good evasive move there by Bill Hahn.
Doesn't have that Old West mustache anymore. Ramirez runs, swing and a miss by Beckham. Throw to second. Not in time. What's the call? Double play. Beckham got in Soto's way. So Ramirez is out. And Ozzie wants an explanation. Gary Darling made that call quickly.
Well, we've talked about this play throughout this season. If that batter swings and interferes in any way with that catcher's throw. Now, the real two keys to the play: the catcher has to make contact with the batter, and he also has to release his throw to second base. Good breaking ball in the dirt. It looked like there was just enough contact there by Giovanni Soto. And right away pointed out to the umpire. And Gary Darling right on top of the play.
Well, you're all over that, Bob. I mean, you've said on numerous occasions you have to go against your instincts. And when a batter gets in front of you as a catcher, you got to follow through. Make contact. And in the case of Soto, as you mentioned, he pointed it out to Gary Darling and got the call.
Well, your instinct is, when you see the batter come out over the plate, first of all, is to try to avoid him and make the throw. That's absolutely wrong. And then once you do make contact, your instinct is, hang on to the baseball. I don't want to make a bad throw. That's absolutely wrong. You have to fight every instinct you have as a catcher to make contact and make the throw.
And I think that goes for base running. When you run into a defender, they're not going to give you an extra base unless you try to get there. And I think the lesson is an umpire has discretion on certain plays to figure out what the play or how it would have resulted if no interference or obstruction had taken place. That's why you can't run into the second baseman as you're rounding second and then just flop. You got to keep going to third. If they throw you out, you hope that they call obstruction. One and two to Juan Pierre. I don't know if you should do like a World Cup type flop.
Yeah, those are some of the greatest actors in the world.
But apparently that's what a lot of those soccer players have to do to get a call. If you don't go down, they won't call it. Toughness has to be rewarded, doesn't it? If you stay on your feet, you still should be able to get the call. Well, Pierre's probably wishing he had swung at that pitch because it bounced on or right behind home plate, hit Soto, and then bounced out of play. If he had swung at it, he would have been able to walk to first.
Yeah, it looked like that pitch hit just behind the point of home plate and caught Gio in a bad spot. You try to get into a good blocking position, but sometimes it hits the edge of your shin guards or the thumb of your mitt. Sometimes it hits the outside of your forearm or your elbow and doesn't drop straight down in front the way you hope it does. That one ended up in the stands on the third base side.
Beckham looks on as Dempster tries to put away Pierre and get out of this second. And Pierre walks. Time now to check out today's improvement from Menards. On June 9th, the White Sox were 9 under, 9.5 games out. But they're back. They're in the race, and that's why. Currently tied with Detroit, just a game and a half behind Minnesota. For all your home improvement needs, shop and save big money at Menards. Omar Vizquel 1 for 9 in the series. That includes the first inning single.
Well, you have to believe Juan Pierre is going to be on the move. First, second, maybe third pitch of this sequence, trying to get himself into scoring position as quickly as possible. And I don't think the White Sox have a lot of respect for Giovanni Soto's ability to throw out a base runner right now.
Pierre leading the majors in steals and leading all active players in career stolen bases. Bottom of the zone, strike one.
That's another thing that Omar Vizquel will do in that number 2 hole in the lineup. He's a guy that's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He'll take pitches and give Pierre every opportunity to steal that base.
Vizquel was trying to feather that one past Ramirez, and he hit it foul. Pierre wanted to go, but I think that extra pause by Dempster upset his timing.
And that's what a pitcher should do. Come to your set position, quick pitch, come to your set position, hold the ball. You just can't stay in any kind of a consistent rhythm with a good base stealer on at first base. If you allow him the opportunity to count in his head 1,001, 1,002, and I'm breaking for second, and you do the same thing on every pitch, it's going to be a track meet. Perfect example right there. Dempster just held the ball until Pierre got uncomfortable in his crouch over there at first base, and you could clearly see eventually he just stood up. Lost the flexibility in his legs, the spring in his legs.
He's going to go in this sequence, you can tell. There he goes. They pitch out. And Castro can't handle the throw. And Pierre is in. They had a little collision there. That's a third time Starlin Castro's had a great shot at nabbing Juan Pierre.
Well, we know Juan Pierre goes into second base head first every time. There it is again. Castro tried to get down in front of the base. Unfortunately, did not come up with the ball, but that's something you can do as a middle infielder to counteract those trick slides and give your catcher a little bit of an assistance. You block second base just like a catcher blocks home plate if you know that runner's coming in head first. But you got to catch your baseball.
So everybody's all right. Pierre with his 29th steal. Cub fans, don't forget to check out our WGN baseball blog on WGNTV.com. I have a post about the Carlos Zambrano incident. We have all the video from the post games this weekend, game notes from stats, and much more. WGNTV.com. Two on Vizquel, really starting to heat up. He might get over 90 when it's all said and done today. And a lot of blue skies above. Cued toward Castro. Then he gets Vizquel. A long inning but no runs. 2-0 White Sox after 2.
Put a refreshing spin on your summer. Bud Light Lime. Superior drinkability. Ultimate refreshment. A splash of 100% natural lime flavor. One taste and you'll find the summer state of mind. Bud Light Lime.
For a limited time, you can carry out a large Domino's pizza with any 2 toppings for $5.99. But there is one stipulation. Limit 256 per day. That is not happening.
For a limited time, carry out a large 2-topping inspired new pizza for just $5.99.
Mom, thanks for the amazing pie.
It's so good.
This is insanely good. See? I thank you for stuff. Oh, and thanks for the roof over my head. Stuff like that.
You should come over more often.
And thanks for having such exquisite taste.
Give the Cool Whip. Get the love.
It's pain relief without the pills.
No pills, no pain. How can you get pain relief without taking pills around the clock? Try Thermacare heat wraps for all-day relief without pills.
I was surprised. Thermacare worked all day.
You feel the heat and it relaxes and unlocks the muscle. You got to try it. Thermacare, more effective for back pain than the maximum dose of acetaminophen, the medicine, and Tylenol. Go to thermacare.com today for a $3 off coupon. Thermacare, no pills, no pain, just relief.
Everything's a perfect game on WGN America.
Welcome back to the South Side. 2-0 White Sox as Giovanni Soto leads it off. Great to have with us Megan McDonald, Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Special Events. This is a wonderful time of the year here in the greatest city in the world. Taste of Chicago going on, and we've got the big Chicago Summer Blast July 4th right here on WGN, 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. Sunday, July 4th. We can't wait. That'll be the first Cubs hit as Giovanni Soto singles into left. Great to see you, Megan.
It's great to see you. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about the Summer Blast. All the details for you. The big fireworks show coming up.
Yeah, and actually this year it's going to be a little different. Navy Pier will do its typical July 4th show out at the pier, but we're also going to add a show on the South Lakefront and the North Lakefront. So 3 total fireworks shows for the price of 1, and it's free.
And my partner is a huge fireworks fan, to say the least.
Oh, I love fireworks. You know, they have them at some of the ballparks when we go on the road, Megan, and
Yes.
Everybody tries to get out of the stadium quickly to beat the crowd because they're all staying for the fireworks show. Well, I'm one of the people staying for the fireworks.
No, and I can tell you, you're going to see quite a show on July 4th. I promise you that.
Looking forward to it.
The weather has cooperated today. It looked pretty ugly about 3 hours ago, but so far so good.
Yeah, this is good eating and drinking weather, so we like it down at the Taste.
Is there
Baker
bad
fouls
eating
off.
and drinking weather?
Not for me, but for others there may be. Yeah, not for me.
Paul Conrad from WGN, Eric Ferguson from WTMX will host the Summer Blast with Lourdes Duarte, Marcus Leshock. And tell us about the 2010 Taste of Chicago.
Well, this is our 30th. So, you know, back in 1980, this started out as just a one-day food festival. And here we are 30 years later, 10 full days, free programming. There's over 50 restaurants, over 300 menu items, 11 new restaurants this year, including one pizza. And I know you're a big pizza fan. Is it you that's a big pizza fan?
Bob's the pizza
Bob,
guy.
you
Yeah.
the pizza? Yes, we have a new pizza down there. You know, I think it just goes to show that restaurants really see the value in the Taste of Chicago and see the potential. So 11 new restaurants is more than we've ever had. We have quite a variety out there. It's really exciting.
Thanks with a 2-2, and he strikes out Jeff Baker on a good changeup. That's his second strikeout. So the fireworks will be July 4th, not the 3rd.
That's exactly right, and I think it's important that people know that on July 3rd, the Taste of Chicago will not be having our traditional fireworks show. We're pushing it to July 4th. So those that want to see fireworks need to come down on July 4th, but certainly still welcome on July 3rd. But there will not be any fireworks on July 3rd, just the 4th.
I think a lot of people will be off on the 5th, right?
Well, that's the idea,
day.
right?
Yeah.
So Monday's the holiday, so we're hoping there's a great crowd on Sunday, and you know, people are always out enjoying the lakefront, picnicking, and hanging out at the beach. So they'll just stay put, and we'll do some fireworks at 9 o'clock.
Tapped by Castro, foul. And if you can't make it downtown again, WGN will have all the coverage Sunday, July 4th. at 8:30 Central Time. And we'll also have coverage on WGNTV.com. One on, one out here in the Cubs' third, 2-0 White Sox.
Sorry about that, Len. I was just going to ask Megan, does there seem to be a favorite item this year at the Taste?
Well, you know, our turkey leg is always the big one, right? That's what you see moving around the Taste. And Manny's is such a great Chicago restaurant, very traditional Chicago. And so Manny's is serving that turkey leg. People seem to love that. You know, the rainbow cone is always popular. I'm a South Sider, so the rainbow cone is always my favorite. But there are so many great restaurants out there and a lot of different menu items to choose from, and very healthy menu items, too. We have almost every restaurant serves a healthy menu item. We've got our smaller portions, which is our Taste portion, which is a smaller portion at a lesser price. So there really, truly is something for everybody out there.
We understand tomorrow's Cubs Day.
It is.
At the Taste.
Yes, we have a great, we have a lot of great programming areas that are all free. But at our Taste Sports area, which is all about Chicago sports teams, tomorrow will be Cubs Day. We've had Blackhawks Day. Stan Mikita came out. So it's always very exciting. And Chicago's a sports town, so it's important that we have an area dedicated just to the sports.
It is a hot dog town, too.
It is
a big hot dog right there.
We have hot dogs down at the Taste of Chicago, that's for sure. No ketchup allowed, though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Cubs trying to get back into this one. Their first base runner of the day, Giovanni Soto, who led off the inning with a single. Castro broke his bat again. Chicago's Summer Blast, big fireworks show, and more coming up Sunday, July 4th here on WGN and WGNTV.com at 8:30. Always a great time of the year, as we mentioned. Megan McDonald, thanks so much for your time, as always.
Thank you very much for having me. We'll see everybody at the Taste of Chicago.
Sounds good. I'm a little hungry. I think I'm going to stop by after the game today. Always appreciate Megan stopping by. The Mayor's Office of Special Events. Slide step, and the pitch is low. Przinski kept it near him. He's going to throw to first, and Soto got back in time. I don't have to tell you, Bob, you did it for a long time. You don't have to catch everything cleanly. You just have to keep it in the vicinity and locate it.
And fortunately for the White Sox, it was Giovanni Soto running at first base and not one of the other guys with a little more speed. Przinski didn't know where that ball was initially. He knew he got a piece of it and slowed it down. It was somewhere near his feet, but by the time Soto realized AJ didn't know where it was, he had recovered and gotten the baseball.
Base hit right field. Soto had to make sure that liner got through, so he'll stop at second, and we'll step aside and see what's coming up on WGN.
He's awkward, neurotic, and completely hysterical. Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld, stars in Curb Your Enthusiasm this fall on WGN America.
Back to the top, and Tyler Colvin. Wouldn't mind if Tyler hits one right there.
Yeah.
Ends up with yellow paint all over it.
Either foul pole is fine. We're not picky.
And he drives it to right. Quentin back on it, and it will go. Didn't hit the pole, but it was a home run anyway, and it's 3-2 Cubs. That's his 10th homer of the year. Comes off a lefty.
Colvin has been hanging in tough against the left-handed pitching that he's seen recently. Little cut fastball right in the middle of the plate. Good wrist action on that follow through. Got great carry. We told you earlier in the ball game it seems to be jumping today. It always seems to be jumping in this ballpark, and Colvin got just enough to get it out of here and give the Cubs a lead.
So the Cubs have their first lead of this series. Tyler going right to his mentor, Rudy Jaramillo. Bird bounces to Alexei Ramirez.
You know, Lynn, it seems like when Tyler Colvin is facing a lefty, he really simplifies things. He shortens his stride. He shortens his approach to the baseball. Just trying to be quick, get a good pitch to hit. And that time he got a great pitch to hit. Cut fastball right in the middle of the plate. Just did get it out of. Ted Lilly wants to know how.
By the way, Tom Gorzolani on the left is now in the dugout. That's because he is back in the starting rotation. He'll go into Carlos Zambrano's spot. Did a great job on Friday, just stabilized things over 3 innings of work. And he'll start against his former team, the Pirates, on Wednesday afternoon here on WGN. He'll face right-hander Brad Lincoln. Right-hander Brian Schlitter, who's from Park Ridge and grew up a Cubs fan, is now in the Cubs bullpen. He was called up yesterday, and I think one of the worst parts of what happened on Friday, and there was a lot of bad, but that Jeff Stevens had to get sent down to the minors. It had nothing to do with him, but the Cubs are playing 1 short with Zambrano away from the team, and because of all the bullpen work the last few days, the Cubs needed an arm, so they had to send Stevens out. Really, only the good thing to come out of it is Brian Schlitter gets his first big league call-up. Lee took a called third, Colvin the homer, and it's now 3-2 Cubs.
Oh, no, I just parked here a second ago. Give me a break, will you? No.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles with 2 different gels for softness and support are outrageously comfortable.
On second thought, I think I'll walk.
Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
Painting will never be the same. Wagner brings you the only power painter with Optimus dual tip technology. With a more refined spray pattern here, Wagner's dual tip design delivers better paint coverage here, superior control here, and a beautiful finish here. All of which adds more to life out here. The new Optimus Power Painter with dual tip technology. Only Wagner. The finish you want. The value you're looking for.
All right, so this Tylenol 8-hour lasts 8 hours, but Aleve can last 12 hours. And Aleve was proven to work better on pain than Tylenol 8-hour. So why am I still thinking about this?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Aleve, proven better on pain.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Oh. Hey, just got off the phone with a sweet gal, fender bender. Think I got her to a good place.
Oh, then you'll love this. Online repair monitoring. After an accident, Esurance customers can get daily updates with photos of their car repairs in progress.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
That's really great.
Thanks.
I mean, really great.
Chad, I don't want to talk about feelings.
Sure you do.
Go to esurance.com or call today.
Today's game is brought to you by Budweiser, official beer of the first inning. Let's check out the crowd through the first inning fan cam and see who's enjoying the game.
Southbound again. Don't know if I'm gonna leaving home. Southbound again. Don't know if I'm gonna leave it home.
It's Dire Straits with Southbound again. Budweiser, it's what we do.
Tyler Colvin has become an everyday player. Sometimes he's in right, sometimes center, sometimes left. The Cubs have needed his bat in the lineup, and he just... Tough part of the order here for Dempster. 1-1 on Alex Rios. Swing and a miss, 1-2. And whatnot, but Rios hitting over 300 with 9 homers against righties. The guy on Paul Konerko, 15 homers and a .292 average against righties. And then you have Carlos Quentin, who's hitting just .227. He has 10 homers. So there's no breather in this inning, even for a righty. Full count, 3-2.
You know, Len, I think that's the case with just about every major league team. If you look at the middle of the order, the 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters, they're going to play against righties and lefties. You're not going to see much platooning. Those guys are going to be in there pretty much every day. It's at the top and the bottom of the order where you'll see a manager try to play matchups a little more often.
That's drilled over Castro. And into left center for a leadoff single by Rios, 2 for 2 on the day. Still time to get great seats, including bleachers for Cubs games this summer. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office. Konerko struck out with runners in a scoring position his first time. Quentin picked him up with a 2-out, 2-run single. Bob, is still very early in this game. We're only in the 3rd inning, but man, if Ron Dempster needed a shutdown inning, and if this team needed one, I think it's this inning. You just took your first lead of the weekend. You don't want to see the White Sox come right.
Konerko's asking home plate umpire Gary Darling if that was a balk on the part of Ryan Dempster. It looked like he had just a slight bit of movement with his hand in glove after he came to a set position. That's why Konerko asked for timeout and was granted timeout by the home plate umpire. And once again, with Rios on at first base, a stolen base is always a possibility. I mean, Paul Konerko, being the good fastball hitter that he is, figures to get a lot of breaking pitches, maybe a few splitters in this sense, and that's the pitch that Rios is going to try to run on.
And Rios goes. Here's the throw. They got him. Textbook by Jeff Baker. Put his glove right in front of the bag, and Soto hit the glove.
And hopefully that'll slow the Sox down just a little bit. A perfect throw that time by Giovanni Soto, and Jeff Baker, as you said, held his ground. Watch the tag goes to the base. The tag shouldn't go to the runner. The runner's coming to the bag. Put the tag where he wants to go, and he'll slide right into it every time. Yeah, when you end up with your glove pinned between the runner's foot and the base, that's as good as you can do it right there. Even the worst umpire in the major leagues is not going to miss out.
Well, 3-0 on Konerko. Three and one. Swing and a miss. Back in it now, full 3-2.
That's been Dempster's best pitch over his last 3 starts. That's a slider. He's great feel for it. He can make it go straight down when he wants to. He can make it more of a sweeping breaking ball. And as I mentioned earlier in the game, he's changing speeds on that pitch.
White Sox have 6 hits. They've all been singles. Cubs with 3. The big one, the homer by Colvin. Got him. Called strike 3 on a fastball. Big night at the ballpark tomorrow night at Wrigley Field as the Cubs will honor Ron Santo for his 50 years of service to Major League Baseball. Yesterday, the 50th anniversary of his Major League debut. And to help celebrate, the Cubs are offering a limited allotment of $10 bleacher seats throughout the homestand against the Pirates Reds. You could purchase tickets by entering the promo code SANTO when getting bleacher seats on Cubs.com. So they will honor Ron with a ceremony and a first pitch before the game tomorrow night. And we thank Ron for joining us on our pregame coverage today.
Ron got a little FaceTime on the national telecast last night. Represented the Cubs organization extremely well. He's hiding.
Got his gamer on today. 2-1.
What do you mean by that? Got his gamer on. I don't understand.
Well, he talks about his hairpiece, and that's the gamer. That's the one he wears to the ballpark, which I would assume means that's the number one. The best one he has, the gamer. Fair ball, and Ramirez will throw out Carlos Quentin. Cubs lead after 3 on the south side. 3-2.
Diesarita, please. Diesarita. 1 part Diesarito, 1 part tequila, 2 parts margarita mix. Diesarito. Keep it open.
Happy 25th birthday, Blizzard!
Check it out! Every party needs a clown, right?
I didn't have a clown at my birthday. Me neither.
Turning 9 does not compare with being the world's greatest treat for 25 years, okay?
Clowns are earned, kids.
We are. Celebrate the Blizzard's 25th with the Strawberry Golden Oreo Blizzard with Golden Oreo cookies and strawberries. Then follow the party tour at DQ.com. And this month, try our Strawberry Golden Oreo Blizzard Cake.
The Craftsman Cordless Multi-Tool. The power and versatility of 6 tools packed into one. More innovative, more great values. Craftsman. Trust in your hands.
Pop-Tarts. I'll have a frosted strawberry as an ice cream sandwich. Chocolate fudge on a stick, please.
With the endless possibilities of Kellogg's Pop-Tarts, it's sure to be a picture-perfect summer. Pop-Tarts, made for fun.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs. Cubs bat in the 4th, leading 3-2 on the home run by Tyler Colvin. And Xavier Nady swings and misses. John Danks came in having won his last 3 starts.